Welcome, one and all, to GOAT Quest. It is the grand finale episode, the last episode of the 24-25 season, coming at you right now. What a week in sports, Thomas Beer. You're back from the left coast.
Yes.
What did you explore while you were in sunny Los Angeles?
New cigars.
Cigar bar.
Cigars, that's about it.
But
I finally found a cigar bar in Manhattan Beach. Don't ask me where it was. Rosecrans. What are the name of the roads? Rosecrans.
Rosencrantz.
Rosencrantz.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very nice.
That was about it.
So did you beach bum it a little bit? Did you get out there?
We walked on the beach, but that's about it.
Oh, summer breeze.
No.
Spring breeze.
No sand in the toes.
No.
Just right on the little crosswalk on.
But you went to a Kings game.
Yep.
Yeah, took it in, soaked it in. Playoff team.
Yeah.
Unlike the Iser plan.
Yeah, unlike the Iser plan.
Which has gone the way of the dodo bird again.
Yeah, LA Kings are actually looking really good, which is great for Minnow.
Yes.
I could really care less, but I mean, you know.
Yeah, well, you want things to go well.
You want
for
things
your
to go well for
significant
her.
other.
Yes.
Yeah. So didn't go well for the Wings. RIP to the 2025 hockey season for them. But there was a bright spot in Michigan hockey that led us to a wonderful Frozen Four national championship run. Who was that? Who is that team out there in Kalamazoo?
Western Michigan.
The Broncos.
And they've got, I didn't even realize this till this morning, and I was going through who plays for Western Michigan and looking at all the draft picks. I think, was it Minnesota has like 18 draft picks on their team? And if you've ever seen...
Minnesota does.
Yeah, have you seen Minnesota play?
The Gophers.
Yeah. They're so good.
Yeah, very good.
I can't believe they didn't win the national championship. But anyway, yeah, but Michigan State has like 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, Minnesota has that many, and they lost. But anyway, they've got this goalie on Western Michigan, and this has kind of been his MO. He was in the OHL last year. Minot told me this. Obviously, I would have never known.
He is a LA Kings property?
He is a LA Kings property. His name is Slukninsky.
Did you
Slunknsky. Slunsky. Back and forth with another goalie in the OHL, and they won the OHL championship. Same thing happened to him this year at Western Michigan. He was sharing time with another goalie.
I was talking to a former George Perlis running back for a couple of years, Dr. Troy Carlson, and we were talking about Michigan State hockey and what Adam Nightingale's been able to do up there, and then we started talking about Western Michigan, obviously this run. And the thing is, Michigan State ran roughshod over the Big Ten, right? But in the final Frozen Four, much like the Final Four March Madness, when it's just one game, in basketball, the scenario is guy gets a hot shooting touch, right?
Yeah.
Couple of guards start shooting the ball at 60, 70%, you're going to lose that basketball game. In hockey, if the goalie gets hot,
you can beat anyone.
You can beat anyone. Western Michigan, is it Pat Frischweiler? Is that his? What a job he's done, though. He was coaching with Jeff Blashill in Detroit and then went back to Western. But he's built this thing up over the last 4 or 5 years. And Western Michigan goes through the Blue Bloods to get there. They beat Denver, who's been there like 6 out of the last 9 years. They beat
BU,
perennial powerhouse, Boston University, who has the Hudson brothers who played here at TPH for years in Detroit.
The other one got called up, I think.
He's leading the NHL. He's the leading defenseman in points in the NHL as a rookie, Lane Hudson.
Okay.
But Quinn and Cole Hudson, the 2 younger brothers, are on this BU team, and they just didn't have enough. Western Michigan takes home the natty. They have won a national championship in NCAA cross country, I think.
Did you watch the game, though?
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
And that's the first national championship of a major sport that Western Michigan has ever won. So it gives faith. It gives inspiration to all these middle market teams.
To all the MAC teams. I mean, a MAC, no. No MAC team has ever made the football playoff. They will someday, hopefully. Maybe they won't.
I don't think.
How do you make? Because you
You'd
don't
have
get
to be
anything.
that group of 5 thing.
Yeah, they're not the group of 5.
Yeah, I don't see it. It would have to.
They'd have to go undefeated. I don't know, and then maybe beat Penn State in the
early in the season.
in an early.
They'd
game.
have to have a couple of big
like
wins.
Northern Illinois did with Notre
Notre
Dame.
Dame.
But they went to shit.
No, yeah.
You see, they didn't even win most of their games in the MAC.
Yeah, you got to run the table and have a couple of those big early wins.
You got to beat Notre Dame and run the table
against top-notch clientele, for sure. We also had another moment in sports, and you and I talked about this when we went through the greatest golfers in the history of sports. Bobby Jones, who's at the top of that list, created the granddaddy of them all, the Masters in Augusta, Georgia, and we got to see it in all of its pageantry this weekend. Did you watch the final round?
I watched every shot.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
It was rife with drama.
Yeah. I mean, it was just mistakes on top of mistakes. And I think Rory, at the end, he did an interview, and I think he goes, the one thing that he was proud of himself for is coming back, right? Every swing is a new swing. Every time you put down the ball, it's a new game. And if you play it by, one stroke at a time, you're okay. But if he made so many mistakes.
First man
mistakes.
ever to win the Masters. I don't know if it was for all majors, but to win the Masters with 4 double bogeys.
Okay.
He double bogeyed the first hole.
Yeah.
Just to start out the day.
I know.
He's automatically tied. He gives up his 2-stroke lead on the first hole. Then he goes in the drink on the 13th.
Yeah.
And then he misses the puppy.
And then a couple times he's in the woods and he hits like 190-yard, I don't know what he hits, 8-iron to like 5 feet, and he's laughing. He's laughing at himself because it went right through a tree.
Yeah.
I mean, it never goes through a tree, especially when you're in the final round of the Masters. It hits the tree and goes back in the woods.
And one of the broadcasters said, when he hit it, I think he caught a branch.
Yep. And he thought he caught a branch. That's why he was laughing. Oh. Somehow it probably hit the branch.
Still had enough juice. So then he misses the puppy, which forces the playoff. Justin Rose is over on the practice holes, staying loose, trying to make sure he can stay mentally in a groove. They go to a 1-shot playoff at the Masters. 2 guys who have been there double-digit times, 2 guys who have finished second multiple times, and they go right down to the wire. They go into a playoff, and he played that hole beautifully. I mean, the second shot, thing of beauty.
The worst thing was the final hole that he played before the playoff. So he's on 18. He hits a 330-yard drive, whatever he hits on 18, and it's perfect. He's 125 yards in with a gap wedge. He could go to the range and hit 500 of those in a row and never hit it in that right bunker. And he puts it in the right bunker on the 18th hole, gets it out, misses a 5-footer, and they go to OT. I thought that was going to be a problem for him. He did say he looked a little nervous, but he goes, I was 10 times more nervous than I looked.
Yeah.
He goes, I've never felt that. And he was that'd be crazy out there hitting a little white ball.
Huge win for him. I think he had been to the Masters 15 times?
More.
He's had 11 chances to complete the career Grand Slam and finally did that. And Justin Rose has been in this position. I mean, guys, I think he's finished twice this year already in majors in the last calendar year.
Yeah, he's a great player.
A fantastic round by Justin Rose, the way he came back. And the whole tournament was just fantastic. And Patrick Reed holes out to stay from the middle of the fairway to stay in contention.
DeChambeau just falls apart. I mean, he shot 75.
You got all the drama
Those
you
guys
wanted.
don't shoot 75.
And he was very cocky after he picked up those 2 strokes.
Yeah, he was.
He had the lead at the second hole because he birdied the second.
He also asked, too. They said, what did you say to Rory? He goes, Rory didn't talk to me all day. He goes, I didn't like it. He goes, because I like to talk.
Yeah.
Right? I like to get a little chippy, have fun, talk. He said, Rory didn't even look at me.
Wow.
So, whatever. He won. Who cares?
Beautiful day. Beautiful. I mean, the whole thing for the Masters. What a great TV event for them, too. Because golf can be relatively boring if you don't have the stakes that you had in that one.
Yeah.
The drama of that one made the TV value much higher.
There's something about watching the same tournament on a course, too. All these other tournaments jump from course to course. You never know the hole. And most of us will never play Augusta. We'll never know the holes either. But the guys that have walked it said it's the most amazing place in the world.
And that historical factor, they get to show you this is where
This
Jack
shot
Nicklaus
from
hit
here.
the putt in
Correct.
50 years ago today.
Correct. And it's very similar. Yes.
Jim Nantz, I think I'm almost done with him. I like Jim Nantz. I really do. But I did,
He just gets a little
he's a
too...
little too schmaltzy.
Yeah.
He sugar-coated everything a little bit
Yeah.
much. I think he might just have jumped the shark with this
Couldn't take
tournament.
it anymore. You wanted to tell him to shut the fuck up.
I had the same thing with the Tigers. The Tigers game, the announcers.
They keep jinxing you, Joe. They're jinxing you.
I like Benetti and Dirks, but boy, do they go off and start rambling on it like it's a comedy routine. We'll get to that. Well, I don't want to jump into the Tigers.
I actually like them.
I like them.
They're a little too chatty, but
I like them for most of because they do move the game with a little more comedy. But I want you to talk about the dramatic shit while it's going on and cut your comedy.
Yeah.
Like, tell me what's going on between Tarek Skubal and this guy as he's walking at him at first base after he strikes. I mean, there was some dramatic moments there. Malloy almost got hit by a pitch. McKinstry.
even Kirk Gibson, he almost put you to sleep. I mean, the poor guy, he's obviously got dementia, Parkinson's, whatever he's got. And he's he's hurting.
God bless Kirk
He's
Gibson.
hurting. I actually,
Detroit hero.
I actually enjoyed watching him because he was Kirk Gibson. Anybody else, you'd be like, get him out of that booth. I don't care if he's got dementia, but it's Kirk Gibson. So, but I do like the new guys. They're a little bit more entertaining.
Yeah, they're definitely adding some comic relief to it.
Yeah.
So next week, going out to April 24th, we've got the NFL draft. Last year it was in Detroit. Detroit did an epic job hosting the draft, the largest
Didn't
draft
you go
ever.
there a couple days?
I was there the whole weekend.
You went
stayed
the whole
downtown.
weekend?
I stayed downtown. I was in it to win it.
You got props.
It was strong.
You need, I don't know what you need, but
He brought
whole
the
weekend-
Honolulu blue with the pimp hand, and it was strong in the D. I'll tell you right now.
God, have we had some great draft picks.
Brad Holmes,
Brad
the Mystic
Holmes,
Wizard.
Say what you want. You've got, back to our comment about coaching. Coaching does matter. I'm not saying it doesn't. It's just not as important as everybody makes it. But anyway, the draft picks that we've got, we could have coached them.
So who's it going to be? Who is on? So in Green Bay, which will have a much smaller crowd than Detroit.
That could even be a
Suck
road
it,
trip. That
Green
could be
Bay.
a road trip.
Suck it, Green
That could
Bay.
be a road trip for you.
For you, yeah. I think I got something going on. But the deal.
I didn't go when I was in Detroit. I'm going to drive to
going
Green
to
Bay.
Wisconsin on my
No.
free time. I don't think so.
No.
But the Detroit Lions will pick way back because of their fine finish as a strong NFC title contender. They will pick way back at the 28th slot. And the thinking is trade up. Trade up. Trade up. But you're going to have to do something with the dismissal, potential re-signing of Zadarius Smith, and then whether or not Aiden Hutchinson comes back at 100%, that the Lions have to go edge rusher. Are you feeling the same way?
No, I think you pick the best player available. If you had another Jahmyr Gibbs at running back and he was there, do I need no? But you pick the best player possible. And I know we need.
I hate that sentiment.
You don't like that. You don't like picking the best player
don't.
possible, no
I
matter
don't.
what.
Unless
So many guys get injured in the NFL. You think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to start?
you're
next
picking him to deal him. Unless it's just a strategy pick, you're picking him to deal him.
But nobody.
you got to address your needs.
Yeah, but nobody picks a draft pick to deal him.
I don't know. I think you have to address your needs or trade up. And if you want Abdul Carter, it's going to have to be a hell of a deal. If the trade up is the Penn State rush end, who most people believe could go 1 through 3, is not going lower than 5, 6, 7.
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't seen this Donovan Zirkayu. I screwed that up, didn't I? Just as we said, we're going to get the names right.
Ezereku. Donovan from Boston College.
I haven't seen him play that much. We don't watch Boston College back here, and it's never on TV. Very rarely. Maybe a couple games.
Does any East Coast football because it just doesn't seem to matter.
But 6'2", 247, I don't know. I mean, obviously, the nice thing is we don't have to worry about it really that much. Brad Holmes, you think Brad Holmes is going to make a bad first-round draft pick? Name a bad pick he's had. I didn't like Broderick Martin, but he was a fifth-round pick. Because I watched some film on him. I wasn't that impressed by his. That's the thing, too. You can watch everybody's film now. Just go watch a game.
Yeah. YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube. Even our old stuff's on YouTube from 30 years ago.
Brad Holmes has dark, hot magic from deep, deep, deep underneath the earth. He's pulling hot magma out of the earth on draft day, which leads me to believe that he will do the deal, that he will shake and bake, and he will trade up. Now, who is he trading up for?
Yeah, but have we seen him do any of that? He takes those. He doesn't give those. Look at the deal we made for the quarterback. I mean, look at the draft picks we got for Matt Stafford. That was a rape job.
Yeah,
they got picks. Stafford, and we got.
They got a Super Bowl. We don't.
Yeah, they did get a Super Bowl. That was a little bit of a surprise.
Just a reality check. That's all I'm saying.
That's true.
That's all I'm saying. So let's go to the top of the board. If you're the Tennessee Titans, you got Will Levis at quarterback. He's good at mayonnaise commercials, not great under center in the NFL. I think if you're the Tennessee Titans, it's an embarrassment of riches at the top of this draft. You can go Cam Ward, you can go Shedeur Sanders, you can go Abdul Carter if you want the rush end.
Cam Ward is a really good talent. I just
shock the world and go Travis Hunter for the dual threat.
No, I think I'd go Shedeur Sanders. I just think that he's got the mentality, the way he thinks like his father, treats it like a business. I mean, I really love Travis Hunter. I mean, you hear all the stories about him off the field. Gets home early, gets up early, works out every day, eats right, doesn't do stupid shit.
Key factor. It should be a statistical category. Number of times you did stupid shit.
Yeah.
That should be a new enhanced statistic.
I mean, I think the best player is Carter from Penn State, period. I think he's better than the quarterbacks. It's not a position that gets as much fame, but the guy's unblockable.
I like Abdul Carter a lot. I do think that the best athlete in the draft, all positions, is Travis Hunter. I do think the best single statistical phenomenon is Ashton Genty from Boise State.
Did you see his build? I didn't dude.
He's
looks like a bodybuilder. Looks like a bodybuilder.
He's a pro, and
that scares me though.
Yeah, if the body holds up, which for NFL running backs, that's always a question mark. He's a 6 to 8 year All-Pro.
There's a lot of guys though look like Tarzan,
play like Jane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just hope. And obviously, he's not one of those. But when the competition stepped up, they didn't have the same offensive line that they probably needed to be playing a SEC team. He was done. He did nothing.
I saw enough of him throughout the season to know that he can run in all conditions. He's an all-weather back.
You don't pick.
He is not going to be sick at sea against any competition.
You don't pick Scadaboo over him?
I don't. No, I mean, Scadaboo's a nice player, and I would have him higher on my draft board than most people do because I do think he's going to be an every down back.
Yeah.
But I think Ashton Genty is.
I think Scadaboo ran like a 4.6. You run a 4.6. It's not everything. Speed is not everything. It's vision. It's balance. It's all the other stuff.
Being able to set up your blocks and read a freaking hole, which half the NFL running backs cannot do.
I know, but they run a 4.4.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. And when you have it all, like Mr. Gibbs does in Honolulu Blue.
Yeah, there's very few have it all, but he is one of them.
So I like Shedeur Sanders as well.
I do.
I'm going to double down on your pick. I was talking to our social media coordinator, Mrs. Kristen Goff.
Oh.
this morning, actually, and she said to me, "Is Shedeur Sanders really that good, or does he just get all these props because he's Deion's kid?"
So you and Mama sit there and have a cup of coffee.
We actually did this morning.
That's it?
On
It
this
doesn't
morning.
happen any other
Oh
mornings?
yeah, it happens all the time. We talk more hockey because she's a bit of a hockey maven. The quarterback discussion went on today, and I said I do think Shedeur Sanders is the best quarterback. If I had to take, because she brought up Jackson Dart and Cam Ward, who are the other two that are up for this first half of the first round QB selection. If I had to win a football game, my life depended on winning a football game, and those were my choices, I would put Shedeur Sanders under center. I think he's the most NFL ready right now. I think he's got the mentality, which is so much
Like
apart.
I watched a couple Miami games, and maybe it was because their defense sucked so much in Miami. I thought they did this year. I didn't like the style.
I like his attitude.
I like his attitude. He's tough. He's been around, 4 teams? Is it 4 teams?
At least 3. Cam Ward's been around the block.
Yeah, he's been around the block, and that's good. I don't think that's a bad thing. I mean, it's the way of the world now, the new NIL stuff. Things get much more difficult in the NFL because things are so much faster that I think he may have trouble picking that up. I hope I'm wrong, but I think Shedeur Sanders is better suited to come in and play.
Processing speed is going to be big. I will say this about Cam Ward. He is more comfortable in the pocket than Caleb Williams. If you're thinking, oh, well, he could end up having the same kind of rookie season that Caleb Williams has, up and down like a roller coaster.
I agree.
I think he's steadier in the pocket.
I agree because you can't, no matter who you are, it's such a double-edged sword. If you're a really good pocket passer, people say, well, that's more important than being a runner. But when you run, when it's 3rd and 15 and you're in the playoffs and all your guys are covered and you run for 20 yards, then they say it's more important to be able to be a runner. It's like Jared Goff, and, he's obviously not a runner at all.
No, and he's not very comfortable in the pocket.
No. He just looks a little, he looks uncomfortable, but he gets it done.
That's what he needs to work on, and I don't know how much you can improve that part of your game.
What is he, 30?
I know.
You're going to change your game when you're 30?
But it's problematic.
Yeah.
If he doesn't change it, it's problematic because it does not lead to winning crunch time football games when the pass rush gets hot, and it showed. Now, I will say this, if we're comparing Shedeur Sanders to Cam Ward and Jackson Dart, all of them have good feet. I think Shedeur Sanders has the mentality, and I also think that arm talent, right? As long as you've got the accuracy part of the arm talent down, as long as you're not consistently wild with your throws, you can get stronger with your arm talent a couple of years into your road into the NFL when you're a young 20-year-old, 21-year-old. I would say if it's Cam Ward, with the age he is, having been around the block, he's going to be 23 when the season starts.
Okay.
So he's a normal senior.
Yeah, that's normal. Normally they're 21.
If we look at those 3 quarterbacks, I do think Jackson Dart has the most room to improve. He could accelerate faster than the rest of them. That comes part and parcel with being underrated versus the 2 of them. Yeah. So I think you could see Jackson Dart shock some people in his climb up the draft board because a lot of people need quarterbacks. That's where I'm going with that. Michigan folks, Mason Graham, the defensive tackle for the University of Michigan, slotted as high as 3rd to the New York Giants. Do you think he could go that high?
I watched him. He's not easy to block. He's got a great motor. It seems like he's a great leader. He got into no trouble in college. Resume, I guess you could say that he should be a top 10 pick. Did I see him take over games like probably a top 5 pick should? Like just own a game completely? Not really.
Maybe a quarter, but not a game.
Maybe a quarter.
Maybe took over a quarter.
Talking about. When you got somebody that's a first round top 5 pick that just Aaron Donald, nobody can block him.
Yeah.
You can block Mason Graham.
With a double team.
You can block him. He's blockable. Against the run? Okay.
Tackles in the NFL could block him. I don't know if center guard can block him. I don't know. Guard, center, guard, I think you're going to need a double team.
You are a homer.
I think he's
I know you're going to have his back.
His engine doesn't stop. You want to talk about a guy who's running at high octane all the time?
He likes all the stuff that we like in good football players.
Yeah,
right? I mean, he represents all the stuff that we like in good football players. Tough.
He's got a filthy layer. He's got a nastiness.
Yeah, he does have a little nastiness to him.
The big offensive lineman from LSU, Will Campbell, they think he could go as high as the 4 pick.
Did you watch film on him?
He's just devouring humans.
He's playing the SEC, just shutting people out. He's really good.
With all that talent,
really good. There's no way. There's no way we're going to trade up to get Will Campbell. No way.
Do we trade up? I mean, who trades up for Travis Hunter? Is there a trade up for Travis Hunter, or are the Jacksonville Jaguars going to get him at 5?
I was talking to Minot about her son is at Michigan, and he talks to NHL teams, and he says, "Oh, I think this team likes me." Or, they didn't go that well with the team. We have no idea what these teams are thinking. The agents and the players have no idea. Maybe if you're the first pick. But after that, they lie. It's actually the opposite. It could be
misinformation.
It's 90% of it is misinformation.
There's all kinds of cloak and dagger shit going on to throw people off the scent.
Exactly. I want to trade this guy, but you want too much for your guy. I want to get up to number 2. I'll give you a third string wide receiver. Who knows?
And it's why a lot of people think the Cleveland Browns bringing Abdul Carter in twice for interviews, which supposedly is unprecedented to have ownership meet physically with him 2 times. So the Browns are blah, blah, blah. Well,
Browns brought me in 3 times.
You were a 6th round
and
pick.
I was a 7th round pick. But I was supposed to be a 5th round pick. They told me they're going to take me in the 5th round. They had 3 picks, and they never called.
Bill Belichick, that lion son of a bitch.
That wasn't Bill Belichick. It was Woody Woodenhofer. He's the guy that called me. But anyway, point is, they weren't taking me in the 5th round.
At the number 6 pick, the Las Vegas Raiders, another one that's been throwing people off the scent. But a lot of people think with Pete Carroll at the helm and Tom Brady trying to establish an offense that they're going to get the run game going first with Ashton Genty.
Okay.
Rounding out the top 10, you got some of these Texas guys who pop in, Banks and Barron. Walker, the big defensive tackle from Georgia, slotted in to be maybe top 10 or 11th. You got to go all the way down to 14 on my board to find Tyler Warren from Penn State. If I tell you what, if a tight end is important on your list and you got Colston Loveland and Tyler Warren sitting in the middle of this draft.
Great blocker.
Ooh, baby.
I think he'll be a top 5 tight end.
That is a fantastic tight end draft in the middle there with those 2 guys. Golden, the wide receiver, on my board that I'm looking at, he's fallen down to the Arizona Cardinals at 16. Now, the next Michigan guy, well, you know what? Let's before we mention the Michigan guy, let's go with the arch enemy first. Travion Henderson, number 20 to the Denver Broncos. That's where he slots in on this board. I think he could go higher than that. I think he could be neck and neck with Ashton Genty. I think there's some people out there that think Travion Henderson is better than Ashton Genty.
Probably.
Especially with the speed.
Yeah, but it's hard. It's hard when you have the offensive line like Ohio State has versus, Ashton Genty. If all you did is look at the last few games, Ashton Genty wouldn't be a first-round pick. I don't care what he looks like with his shirt off, right? But he did have some huge games earlier in the year against lesser competition. I don't think you can go wrong with Travion Henderson.
No.
I think he's an instant starter no matter what team he goes to. He's kind of like our running back.
Jahmyr Gibbs.
Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah. If Aaron Rodgers does not pull the trigger in Pittsburgh, which I think Pittsburgh could be dodging a bullet with that bag of dicks, there's so much head case potential
when
there.
You watch him, he kind of looks the same. You just get old, man. You just get old, and stuff doesn't work like it used to. Even bringing in his wide receiver didn't help him.
Well, they're going to bring in his guru and his herbalist. And when the guru and the herbalist, if they have a bad week, if they get wrong side of the bed, those 2 have a conflict in camp, the whole thing could hit the shitstorm. The whole thing could hit a shitstorm. Aaron Rodgers, if Pittsburgh doesn't do a deal with him, do they take Jackson Dart? Do they hope that somebody falls? Are they going to pick a quarterback and throw another rookie out there after the Kenny Pickens debacle?
Yeah.
Or Pickett, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
And then right behind them is your boy Jim Harbaugh with the khaki pants sitting there ready to take a Michigan man. He can take Colston Loveland if he's left there on the board. Maybe he takes Kenneth Grant, which might people think the defensive tackle might be a little early for him at the 22 slot.
Will Johnson,
who's on the board, on my board at 24, going to the Minnesota Vikings. Who does Harbaugh take?
Well, what did he take? In his first year, he took offensive tackle from Notre Dame, Joe. That's an instant starter for 10 years.
Don't you think his defense was good enough?
Yeah.
I mean, he's got a defense that I think can win football games.
Yeah, but they lost the first game of the playoffs. Just like you said, it's just like hockey. It's one game. You get a hot goalie or whatever. I don't think football's a whole lot different. Get a hot quarterback or you lose your starting corner and you got to play a backup. I saw that so much in the NFL. There's such a drop-off from the starter to the backup. There has to be, right? You can't afford them. You can't afford to have. That's one nice thing that we have in Detroit. We got a lot of corners.
I think he looks at his offense. He's got big play capabilities. He's got Ladd McConkey getting between the sheets. I think he needs that reliable go-to safety valve for Justin Herbert, and I think that's Colston Loveland. I think he takes the Michigan man at number 22, maybe the third Michigan man off the board. We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see. So then your Lions. Ezereku at the edge rush, or they trade up. I'm going to give you a final opportunity. I mean, there's the kid from Ohio State, too, Tim Aloha, who's behind him, another edge rusher.
Could be anybody. I guess I'll go with the prediction of Ezereku. But yeah, I don't know. I haven't watched a whole lot of film on him. I love watching film on people, going back and watching film. So
I want you to dig in, study it, send me an email, because this is the finale episode.
Okay.
All right. And then we'll edit it in next year after they've already made the draft to see if you're right or you're wrong.
Perfect.
You son of a bitch.
Perfect.
We're moving on from the draft because the Detroit Tigers have had a hot start. Detroit Tigers, I got my little couple of the baseball cards from back last time they won the World Series, 1984. They've been back several times in the Jim Leland era. They've been in the playoffs several times, but they have not consummated the deal. And after the great run last season, the streak that blew people's minds, one of the great runs in the history of the second half to make up a nearly last place position and get themselves into the playoffs, they've started off this season. Your Detroit Tigers are the first team in the American League to 10 wins. Congratulations, A.J. Hinch and the boys of summer. Have you watched the Tigers play, number one?
Yes.
And what do you notice about this team that gives you hope?
My question will be, can they keep the bats moving, right? Torkelson and Kerry Carpenter, 5 home runs each already. Probably not something that's not sustainable, that many games and that many home runs, but that's the kind of stuff. We've got the pitching. What
I have noticed, in addition to the fine performances by the staff, I mean, Skubal started out slow, but Casey Mize started out hot.
When you watch him, do you see how that ball moves?
Yes.
You can't hit him.
No.
You can't, dude.
How do you get to hit a changeup? All right. First of all, your timing. You're preparing for a 99 to 100 mile an hour heat.
Yeah.
Right. And then he lays it on the outside corner. It looks like the fastball coming out of his hand.
And then
so you're already started.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And now it's sitting on the corner. And you're way out in front of it. Oh, and by the way, it just decides to fade away 4 inches.
Exactly. So it's not even a strike.
No.
And you're thinking it looks like it's coming right down the middle and it's a ball.
No.
But you can't take it.
He makes more ugly swings out of good hitters than any pitcher I've seen in quite a while.
What's he good for? 20 wins?
He's good for 20 wins.
Yeah, he's probably good for 20 wins. And then we got Flaherty's. His ERA is 1.62. He's been pitching well.
Mize, Olsen. Mize has got 2 wins. He had a little chink in his armor on this last one. Since an 0-3 start, since getting swept by the Dodgers, they've won every series since, and they're the first team to 10 wins in the American League. And the bats are awake. So they score early and they score often. But I'll tell you the thing that I noticed most about them that I didn't see even during the run last year. I did not see the consistency of guys having good at-bats
Yeah.
up and down the lineup.
I would agree.
8, 9, 10 pitch at-bats all up and down the lineup. Guys are hanging tough, fighting for pitches.
Literally to the last month of the year, we were in last place.
At the NFL draft, so think about it, right?
Yeah.
Weeks from now. But at the NFL draft last year, we went to go see the Tigers. So what is that? 2 months into the season.
Mm-hmm.
And they got run out of the building, something like 12-1. And I looked at my brother and Phil Lim, another all-state football Orchard Lake St. Mary's champion. And I looked at them both and I said, this is maybe the worst team since that Alan Trammell team that flirted with the most losses of all time. And they went on a playoff run in the second half of that season last season.
So back to was it coaching? What else would it be? They had the same players.
A.J. Hinch woke up this team, and then he mixed up the pitching in a weird way with the staff by committee model.
What's scary. I kind of feel like we have the same team. We do have the same team.
We've stabilized the rotation. Torkelson's hitting consistently, which was a big absence.
That was a big absence because he wasn't until the playoffs last year.
Carpenter wasn't nearly as consistent.
No. Yeah, maybe they've just grown up. Maybe
McKinstry wasn't as consistent.
This is the new normal, right? They keep it going. Timely hits at timely spots. And
I look up and down the lineup, and all these guys can get you a good at bat. All these guys can get you a hit when you need it. And some of these guys can tag the long ball with consistency.
Yeah.
So with the pitching, with Skubal, Mr. Cy Young, I think the Tigers can make a hell of a run. Obviously, the big payrolls, they're going to have to compete with the Yankees.
Well, the tough thing will be when they have the 5-6 game losing streak. I hope they don't have. But when they do, can they pull themselves out of it, right?
Yeah. The Angels and the Rangers have 9 wins in the West. The Yankees and the Blue Jays have 9 wins in the East. But it's the Tigers alone with 10 wins in the Central that lead the American League, and I hope that they can remain there. We will be back right around the All-Star break, I think. If we come back in June around the MIS race, I think we will be right before the All-Star break. So we'll be able to plug back into this Tiger season and see how it's progressed after we take our hiatus. So that leads me into our GOAT list, the boys of summer, the Detroit Tigers. The Detroit Tigers, for your information, have won the World Series 4 times. They won it in 1935, 10 years later in 1945, they won it in 1968, and then they won it in 1984, the World Series of our lifetime. Tom Monahan bought the team. He hired Sparky Anderson. Sparky Anderson came in and said, in 4 years, we're going to win the World Series. Give me 4 years with this team, and in the 4th year, they won the World Series. Prophetic, Sparky Anderson, a big hero in town. That 84 team for Generation X, right, for all of us who grew up, is probably one of the nearest and dearest. And there was so much momentum going on in town, and it goes so long, and it's in your summer when you're a school kid.
Yeah.
So you really get a chance to soak in the season.
And in the 80s, Detroit was really down.
It was rough.
Especially downtown.
Yeah. Bless You Boys, Al Ackerman on Channel 4, George Kell and Al Kaline, former Tigers on TV, Ernie Harwell and Paul Carey, the voice of the Tigers, Ernie Harwell on the radio. I mean, the Tigers it's set up perfectly for them. And they had all the pieces from a real good 83 team, couple of upgrades with Darrell Evans with the trade. Now they got a home run hitter in town. Everything just set up nice in 84. But if we're looking at the all-time Tigers, those 4 World Series teams, championships count, as always. But I'm going to start out, by kind of running up from the deep abyss of 1920s baseball and bring it forward, because you can't talk Tiger baseball without talking about Ty Cobb. Ty Cobb led the American League in hitting something like 13 out of 15 seasons in the middle of his career. He had a sick run of like 8 or 9 American League batting championships in a row. He led the American League in stolen bases like 8 years during that period. He hit 400, obviously the 401 season. in 1922, which I mentioned off the air. 1922 was the year that George Sisler hit 420, the best mark ever, and two guys also hit over 400, Rogers Hornsby and Ty Cobb at 401. But Ty Cobb, through all those doubles, triples, leading the league and everything. He actually led the league in home runs once, even though he wasn't a home run hitter during the dead ball era. Never won a World Series.
Yeah.
A lot of guys play their whole career and never get a chance to raise the trophy and win a World Series. Now, I know Ty Cobb has a lot of baggage around him for things that he did or maybe he didn't do. There's a lot of rumors and what kind of a person was he, but as far as a pure baseball player is concerned, when you look at the number of hits, the number of time he led the American League, it's hard to argue that Ty Cobb is one of the top contact hitters in the history of base, probably number one.
He had 11 batting titles. He had 54 stolen bases.
He had a year where he had 90-something. I mean, 90-something stolen bases in that era.
In 1 year?
Yeah, he had a year where he had 96.
Oh.
In the year he won MVP, he had 54.
Wow.
Yeah, multiple MVPs, first ballot Hall of Famer, ended up wealthy as a purveyor of the stock market. If you watch the movie, he was an early buyer of Coca-Cola stock and made some very savvy investments late in life, loaned money to a lot of ball players that were down on their luck, guys who pissed all their money away.
That normally doesn't turn out very well.
Yeah.
But must have been for him. He might have put a lien on him somehow. Who knows?
Yeah, made a lot of loans to a lot of guys. One of the guys who he made those loans to was the manager that brought winning to Detroit in the first place from a baseball perspective, and that was Mickey Cochran. So Mickey Cochran was a Philadelphia Athletics catcher, all-around athlete. You go back in time, a lot of these old baseball players, remember, baseball was like football is today. Baseball was the sport. Baseball and boxing were the sports in the first half of the 1900s. So a lot of these guys were amazing athletes, but football, they were like Mickey Cochran was one of the best football players. Yeah. Schoolboy Rowe, a great Tigers pitcher, was one of the best quarterbacks in Arkansas. These guys could have played football. Schoolboy Rowe had 100 professional boxing bouts and then became a major league pitcher. So these guys were all-around athletes. Cochran played it all. The guy was a pilot. I mean, was an actor, played saxophone. I mean, it was a Renaissance man. But Mickey Cochran comes to Detroit at the end of his career after an MVP season, winning the championship with Philadelphia Athletics. They sell him to Navin, the former Navin Field, the owner of the Tigers, and he comes here, and in his first season, he takes them to the World Series, and they lose. In his second season, he takes them to the World Series, and they win in 1935. So that 1935 team is the next focus. I'm going to bring up some names that you've heard of, that the statues are in the outfield at Tiger Stadium. Charlie Gehringer, the great second baseman.
Okay.
Schoolboy Rowe, who I mentioned, the great pitcher.
Okay.
Hank Greenberg, the Hebrew Hammer, Hank Greenberg, who famously took the day off for Yom Kippur and then came back and took the Tigers to the World Series in 1935. That was the 34 season.
It's funny. It's all the things we're talking about that sway people to go one way or the other, football or baseball or basketball, it's all money.
Oh, yeah.
It's all money.
Hank Greenberg was the best basketball player in New York. He was 6'4".
You don't think that every kid in 8th grade is thinking about going to Michigan, getting paid $3 million to be the quarterback at Michigan, or whatever that number is, $5 million? I don't know. My God, they're going up again. This NIL is going to change everything much more than I thought it was going to.
Well,
anyway,
if they'd have had the NIL in 1935,
back to baseball,
when Mickey Cochran took the Tigers to the World Series, you've got some. So I have to mention Hank Greenberg for a couple of reasons. Obviously, he's one of the greatest home run hitters of all time, but he also hit for average. He played first base beautifully, but the real big mark in Hank Greenberg's favor is that in the middle of his career, the prime of his career, after he had just led the league in RBIs, so he had a 4-year run where he led the league in extra base hits, in RBIs, and home runs. 4 years he was a league leader in one of those statistical categories and was on the rise. And he has to go, and he's the first, obviously because of the Nazis in Germany, and him being a Jewish player, he was the first Tiger to enlist. Went over 4 years he was gone. So he lost most of the 40 season, 41, 42, 43. Lost all those years in the war. And then he comes back and he wins another World Series in 1945. The first year he comes back, he brings the Tigers another World Series and has some more fine seasons, league-leading seasons on his way out. Those guys who took time off at the prime of their career and then came right back and plugged in 4 years later. Imagine if you took 4 years off of something.
No.
It's just...
No.
It's insane how good.
I guess it could be a little better if you were 20 and now you're 25, right?
Right.
But if you're 25 and now you're 30 or 29,
yeah, he missed the prime.
You're getting out of your prime.
Yeah, he missed the prime and came back in his 30s.
Yeah.
And got it done. Same as Ted Williams.
Something happens too when you turn 30, 31, 32. I just remember maybe you start drinking a little more and, not working out as much. Maybe that was my problem.
Maybe
too.
you're out of the league.
Yeah, I'm out of guzzling.
So that's my back in time. Hal Newhouser was the great pitcher on that 45 team when Greenberg came back. Newhouser won the MVP 2 years in a row. You don't see that happen very often. He finished second in the MVP voting the third year, almost 3 years in a row. So big props to Hal Newhouser from that era. And then we come right into the 1960s with Al Kaline's Tigers and the greatness that led to 84. Give me the bottom of your Mount Rushmore, and let's talk Detroit Tigers.
Ivan Rodriguez.
Pudge, great pick.
2,427 games caught behind the plate.
Ooh.
13 Gold Gloves.
Amazing. Played a lot of his career in Texas, but he was a Tiger.
14-time All-Star, all-time hitter, the best hitter as a catcher.
Oh, one of my Johnny Bench and Pudge Rodriguez, arguably. Obviously, there's Yogi Berra and there's Mickey Cochran. I mean, there's great catchers from the yesteryear, but I've never seen any with my own eyes better than Pudge Rodriguez.
I
was indeed.
Yeah, I thought you were.
I was indeed
in high school,
right? And I would have loved to have
at Wayne State. At
Wayne State, but
not really.
Never got into a game.
Okay.
Kinda. I was on the team. I was a scholarship player.
So if somebody would have got hurt and they called you?
No. I redshirted, and then I didn't play at all. Like, I remember because Van Gorder came in and said, we got to be at spring ball the second year.
That's right.
So freshman year.
So if you were at spring ball, you couldn't play baseball.
Freshman year, redshirt, so I didn't get to play that year. Second year, I had to come for spring ball with Van Gorder.
Wow.
Yeah. Bill Freehan was another great Gold Glove Tigers catcher in the 1968 World Series, but nothing like Pudge. I mean, Pudge is in a class by himself for Tigers catchers.
Yeah. My top 10, we get into the 1984 team. Lou Whitaker. I had over a 363 batting average.
So should Lou Whitaker, and this is the big question right now, should he get into the Hall of Fame? He's the last one of the great 84 Tigers since Jack Morris and Alan Trammell are in now. Lou Whitaker is the other one that is hotly debated.
I think so.
Greatest double play combination maybe of all time, Trammell and Whitaker. But, he won his Gold Gloves. He won his Silver Sluggers. He had one of the great 4 or 5 year runs there in the history of the position at second base. If you look at him against second basemen, in most statistical categories, he's top 10. He's better than about half of them that are in. But when you look at guys of his era that are in the Hall of Fame, he grades out, like maybe 40 spots out of that caliber, right? So I've seen arguments for him and against him. I think he's in for a few reasons. I don't know if you remember when he hit the home run in the All-Star game against Dwight Gooden.
Kind of.
That was just a big, great moment. The 84 World Series. He wasn't the greatest playoff hitter, but he had timely hits. He was a clutch hitter during the season. If you take away some of the playoff stuff, he had the big home run in the All-Star game. He was the most reliable second baseman. He has a top 5 range in the history of playing the position of second base. So like him, Roberto Alomar, Ozzie Smith. I mean, there's just a handful of guys that had the range that Lou Whitaker had to field the position. He played his whole career at second base. This isn't one of those guys who moved off to DH, right? So if you take the guys who played 75% of their career at second base, which Lou Whitaker did more than that, then he's better than half of them that are in the Hall of Fame, statistically.
Okay.
That's my case for Lou Whitaker. Okay. But Alan Trammell, the MVP season in '84, and Lou Whitaker, to me, the up the middle combination there, the best I've ever seen.
Then I got a couple pitchers. Max Scherzer, 3-time Cy Young winner.
Yeah.
20 strikeouts in one game. I don't even know why that's a stat, but they gave it to me.
That's a fantastic stat.
Verlander,
that's dominant performance.
Verlander.
Justin Verlander.
262 wins, 2,432 strikeouts.
World Series, not for Detroit, but World Series when he went elsewhere.
Cy Young winner, 9-time All-Star.
So in the modern era, I don't hear the name that I expect to hear. Is there a big name still coming? Mickey.
Yeah.
Miguel Cabrera.
Oh, yeah, he's on here.
One of the greatest hitters of all time.
Yes.
But could not win us a World Series. He won his World Series in Florida with the Marlins. He could not get it done here in Detroit.
You know, there's something to be said for somebody that gets paid that kind of money because you're probably not going to win.
He showed up all the way till the end.
No. Was he a good player? Yes. But when you can't afford other players because you don't have unlimited funds like the New York Yankees, I think it's a little unfair to say that he never won
a World Series. I'll tell you this. Kirk Gibson won the World Series in Detroit and in Los Angeles in heroic fashion both times. Mm-hmm. And God bless him for what he's going through right now with the illness. You know, I think he's the money man. Mickey Lolich and what he did, the winning the 3 games, the World Series in '68, another clutch performance. But I think the guy who's the most underrated, and you know, he didn't spend a ton of his career in Detroit, is the best closer ever to wear a Tiger uniform, Guillermo "Do Not Call Me Willie" Hernandez. I mean, you look at Willie Hernandez's numbers in those seasons. I mean, he wins the Cy Young and the MVP as a relief pitcher, and in that '84 team, he's just the most dominant. I mean, I know Denny McLain is the last pitcher to win 30 games. There's another Detroit Tiger legend, but Willie Hernandez in that '84 season, it's a remarkable work of art there. I got to put him on my top 5.
Okay. Actually, do have Hank Greenberg on here.
Very nice.
We talked about him earlier. My number 1 is Ty Cobb.
Ty Cobb is, you know, he's going to be
number. Maybe it's just because it's the best name.
And I know this is going to sound stupid and silly, and it's going to be, maybe I'm just trying to be contradictory to be contradictory. I love looking at the old historical numbers and, you know, what era, you know, comparing the eras and trying to factor all this in. When you're talking Tiger, right, there's something about how long did you play here? Did you win a championship here? What did you mean to the city of Detroit? If we're just talking who's the Tiger GOAT, I think there's a lot of extracurricular factors that need to be pulled into this outside of just the back of the baseball card. So I'm going to go with Al Kaline. I'm going to go with Al Kaline for these reasons. He played 22 seasons in the major leagues, all 22 of them in Detroit. He was one of the top rookies. He's the youngest batting champion at the time and ran that career all the way through '68 when he finally got a World Series in Detroit. He was the guy that famously had a bad season after he signed a big contract and gave money back, gave the extra bonus money back to the team because he didn't feel like he had earned it.
Yeah. Now it's just too much money. Ain't nobody giving it back now.
Crazy stuff. But when Al Kaline retired after he got 3,000 hits, he's a 3,000 hit man, by the way, on top of all the other statistical greatness, one of the most gold gloves at his position. On top of all that other greatness, when he retired, he went immediately to the booth to work as the Tigers color man. Later in life, he was president of the organization and then one of the scouts and advisors right till the end, till he died in 2020.
He worked for the Tigers.
67 years.
Wow.
Al Kaline worked for the Detroit Tigers for 67 years. So through that '84 World Series, through all those great Jim Leyland teams that flirted with the World Series, Al Kaline was a force from the 1950s right through to the 2000s.
Very rare. I mean, the only person we even have, anyone that's still working for some, I guess Alan Trammell. He's worked a lot for the Tigers.
He had an Iserman-like record as a manager, though.
Yeah. But we got Spielman. right? He played and he's working. There's not many guys that stick with the same team. Normally there's people there that maybe you didn't like, or maybe they didn't like you.
Yeah.
Right?
Jack Morris, is one of the great Tiger pitchers, won the 84 World Series, went elsewhere to win other World Series championships. You can mention a lot of these guys. I mentioned Charlie Gehringer briefly, but one of the greatest middle infielders of all time. Obviously, Alan Trammell. You talked about some of the more recent pitchers, and hopefully we'll see Tarek Skubal on that list. He's got a Cy Young under his belt. Hopefully they lock him down for the rest of his career, and he becomes Sam Crawford. I'll throw that name in there. Another one that's got a statue out there. Hopefully he becomes one of those Hal Newhousers, Sam Crawford, Schoolboy Rowe.
How do you compete with L.A. and New York? Like, you telling me they're not going to scoop up Skubal?
How do you compete with them? Well, first of all,
you don't.
The Ilitch family is not poor. All right, they offered some of these free agents a shitload. They offered them more money, and in some cases, the guys went to other teams.
Really?
Yeah. The Ilitch family opened up the pocketbook. Now, I disagree with some of the decisions that have been made on the hockey side, but they've tried to open up the pocketbook for this Tigers team. And Chris Ilitch, who most people believe has most of the control over this organization, is a former baseball player. I mean, and his dad was a former baseball player, right? Mike Ilitch was a baseball player. I think this family is going to spend the money to compete for this World Series championship in this era with this pitching staff, with these young pitchers.
Okay.
That's my take on it.
Yeah.
But my hope going away is that Mr. Tiger, Al Kaline, from his seat in heaven is looking down on this team, and that this team is about to take it home, and that this is the season. Of course, I'm a homer, and I hoped that for the Lions as well.
Yeah.
I want to see that come to fruition too.
What a disappointing season, the last game. We've already talked about that. We beat that with a bat.
We will talk about it no more.
No.
But we will talk about when we're coming back in June. So the weekend of June 6th, 7th, 8th, we'll be coming back to Brooklyn, Michigan, where the Michigan International Speedway is, and our good friend, Eric Burton.
Speak for yourself.
Eric Burton and the Animals will be in the building. We don't know what building. We don't know where they're going to set us up. With his brother-in-law, Christopher Bell, who is now sitting at number 3, driving that Toyota to 3 victories already this year. He's got the most wins.
He had 3 in a row, I believe.
Yeah,
right?
3 wins, 5 top 5 finishes. He is behind just Will Byron and Denny Hamlin. Larson and Elliott round out the top 5. Right in the middle of that top 5, Christopher Bell with 305 points in the NASCAR standings. He's going to be our guest. That's what we're told. Maybe the 6th, maybe the 7th, maybe the 8th.
Sometime that week.
Are you going to have any studying done? Will you know anything about NASCAR by the time we get there?
No.
Could you change one of the tires with those guns where they come flying out?
Oh, yeah.
Bullshit.
Oh, you kidding me?
You got no chance of operating that air gun tire thing.
My speed and strength, are you out of your mind?
His agility. Just the pure agility.
Just pure athleticism.
Just to get over that. You are looking svelte, my good man.
I'm not.
Are you down to what?
I'm not down.
You're down what percentage? We'll go by percentages.
You don't want to know.
No.
Yeah.
But you're down.
I was probably at 80% fat a couple of years ago. I mean, literally.
You don't even know how to do a percentage.
No.
80% fat.
My body.
Okay, remember you have bones
I
and
had
blood
fat in my
and
eyes.
organs.
I had fat in my fingers.
You were not 80% body mass index.
No, but I don't know what my BMI is. We don't want to talk about that.
Okay.
But I'm still.
Right. But you're looking good.
Thank you.
Jumping over the wall and plugging that machine into the screwing on the bolts.
One hand.
I don't even know what the hell.
One hand.
I'm sitting here. I don't even know what you call the goddamn
hands.
thing. It's a gun though. They call it a gun,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And they got to fire it. And then I want to be. But how about that guy who comes out with the gas thing?
You'd be good with a wife beater on. Your pipes
with a mustard stain.
Mustard stain.
I just come slobbing over the wall
right in your beard
with the gas tank. Jam that gas tank in there. Fill her up, God damn it!
Let's go.
Move. Let's effing go.
That is a great place for your mouth.
Yeah.
Out on a
with the cars
that mouth of yours
flying by and having the earplugs in.
Oh, it'd be great. It's a great place for your mouth.
Yeah,
it really is.
I'm excited to see it. I've never been close to that. I guess I've been on the infield.
Have you?
But I think
At
that
down
was
there?
No,
Down-
I think I did the Indy thing out on Belle Isle.
Oh.
I don't think I've ever been. I've been in the stands at Brooklyn once. I think I might have been in the.
I was down
maybe
in Detroit,
twice.
the Grand Prix, the old Grand Prix.
Yeah, I've been to the Grand Prix a
I've
couple
been
times.
once. We were on some building.
I've been to Sonoma. I saw the Indy race in Sonoma. That was fantastic. That's a beautiful place to
so
drink
you're
some
kind
wine.
of an Indy guy,
I'm not.
huh?
I'm not. It was a client event.
Yeah.
Client event.
Yeah, you got to like cars. I just never got into cars. Was my gig.
We're going to get into cars. We're going to ramp up our intelligence and we're going to get into them.
Okay.
So your GOAT Tiger is Ty Cobb. My GOAT Tiger is Al Kaline. Our Detroit Tigers are the first team to 10 wins in the AL Central, leading the AL Central. We hope they win it all. We've got the draft coming up. We've got MIS in June. All of this is on the horizon. Your Detroit Lions will be coming back into camp. We'll be picking up the baseball season. It's all happening. The Pistons are in the playoffs playing the Knicks. We almost didn't mention that. That's the good news for these sporting seasons after the amazing turnaround from a team that couldn't find its ass with both hands. They're sitting in the playoffs playing the New York Knicks, who they've beaten 3 times this year. So go
that.
Pistons.
Go Pistons.
Tom Gores has turned it around, Cade Cunningham, and your Detroit Pistons. So that is season 1. Joe Willie and the Beerman want to thank you.
Like us, follow us.
It's
whatever
been
you have to do.
amazing this season. The Butcher's Cut right here
We're
with
about to break it open.
the Detroit
wouldn't do
City
that.
Distillery is thinking about sponsoring this podcast. Wink, wink, nudge,
And
nudge.
it's on Gratiot, right outside of Ford
Oh,
Field.
you can see Ford Field from the parking
I think
lot.
we're going to have a podcast in the parking
I
lot.
think we're going to do
maybe?
some parking lot podcasts.
Yeah, maybe 1 or 2. Or
PLP.
something. PLP.
Parking lot podcast.
Yeah.
Okay. The most important thing always on every one of these broadcasts is that you leave this show going out into the world and becoming the GOAT at whatever it is you're doing today. Thank you.